Hello and welcome back to the studio. Last video that I did for you, I gave you a little flick through this quick sketchbook, time sketches and life drawing and such. So if you'd like to have a little flick through this, I will put the link in the email. It's a direct link to YouTube. It's a unlisted video, so that only you can see it really if I give you the link. So there's a full video, it's only about 10 minutes I think, of a little flip through this particular sketchbook, and it got me to thinking about the ways that I use my sketchbooks to generate ideas for final paintings. And I realised that there's quite a lot of ways that I actually use my sketchbooks, so I'm going to give you a quick talk through how I use my sketchbooks and then focus in on one in particular. It's a new technique that I've been using that's been influencing my work, and I'd like to show you that and give you a little tour through that particular sketchbook. So just to give you a quick overview first of all of these sketchbooks and the different ways that I work in my sketchbooks to create final layouts. So sometimes I will do really quick thumbnail sketches. I'm not sure if I've got you in shot here. I do really quick thumbnail sketches and go straight to canvas from here. So I'll come up with an idea that I want to work on, get the basic composition, how I want to go, and I will go straight on to the canvas. This gives a really good spontaneous way of working. I really appreciate the way I can get straight to the final product and give it that life like it's the first time I've painted it, which it often is. Sometimes I come up with more concepts that I want to work through a little bit more, and they require a little bit more thought about, and I like to do some studies for those, such as in this sketchbook. So some of the ones in here are preliminary drawings for final paintings. So I've expanded upon this a little bit and created a painting from this. I still like to keep them quite spontaneous. There is a painting that I created called Transformation, which is a combination of this painting and this one. And this is just a little bit of working out, swatching colours and coming up with a general concept. So I've done a flip through, a very quick flip through of this sketchbook on my Instagram reels. The video of that is on my website if you'd like to see it. But if you'd like to see a really thorough flip through this particular sketchbook, I can certainly do that. So if you let me know in the comments or in an email if you'd like to see a more thorough sketchbook flip through of this one. I also do some generating images and sort of ideas and concepts from just images that I found in magazines. So I can cut them out and slap them in. It just gives me an idea of layouts that I want to work on, things I want to think about, such as this. And I found a new technique recently that I can take these pictures from magazines or from printouts and I can transfer them in paint into my sketchbooks, and that is the gel printing plate. It literally is a slab of jelly. I think it's like silicone. So this thing is really good fun, and it's really spontaneous. I'll give you a little demonstration of this because it's a little bit confusing. But yeah, that gel press, this, if you're interested, is what allows me to transfer images from magazines or printed out images directly into my sketchbooks that I can work over the top of, because it's all acrylic paint. And here's some examples of how I go about that. This is really good, really spontaneous way of me coming up with some ideas very quickly. So I can give you flip throughs of any of these if you like. The one I'd like to focus on today is this sketchbook, which is mainly focused on creating images of sort of classical nudes. So I'm taking the sort of classic nudes and giving it a spin, my own little edge. I want them to be edgy, I want them to be empowering, I want to use a lot of contrasts and mistakes. And what's really great about using the gel press to create these really spontaneous, quick images is that they have lots of things like misprints and stuff like that. And I really like the way this looks. It gives it a sort of grungy urban feel. It feels like there's paint peeling and stuff like that. And I really like the contrast of that against the sort of classical feminine imagery. So a few of these have been made into paintings. There's, you'll see around the edges, this is all where paint has got stuck to the gel press, and it's all ended up transferring it into the image. This is where the image is sort of broken, where there was some other paint beneath that it didn't react well with. But I really like the way that they have that kind of, they blend into the actual painting itself and they look like they're made from the painting. So yeah, this was made into a painting called Almost Angelic. So just as a quick aside here, I'm going to go into more detail in the next video, but I'm hoping that I can insert a picture of the final painting. Using this as reference, obviously the painting's all done by hand, just using this and the model as reference, trying to translate over some of the mistakes and the design elements that I've created in this into the final piece. And this one was called Closer, I believe. It's got changed a little bit along the way. But yeah, so this sketchbook, the best way I can show you and explain how I go about creating these images is just to give you a little demo. So let me get the gel press going, get everything set up, and I will demonstrate how I come up with a composition similar to this. So yeah, so let's have a go at gel printing an image into here. And take a laser copy. So this is a laser printout, but it's actually a laser printout that's in full colour, despite it being in black and white. Because the way this works is that the paint resists any areas where there's a lot of ink on the paper, and it soaks in more into the white areas. So you're left on this piece of jelly, you're left with just the dark areas of paint because it sucks up all the paint off of the light areas. So anyway, it's the best way just to show you. A little bit on here. It's a little bit trial and error. You've got to get the right consistency of paint on the gel press. You don't want it too thin and you don't want it too thick. Just a nice even coating. And you don't want to take too long over it either, because obviously this dries quite quickly if you're not careful. You just gently lay the print over the top. Just at fingertips lightly. Just make sure there's no air bubbles. Very gently, and only for a few seconds. Lay it down on there. As you peel it away, you'll see it's soaked up the paint mostly into the white areas, leaving the image on the gel paint. What you do is you leave that to dry, and then I'll be back in a few seconds. Okay, so I might not be the best teacher, but I'm hoping that showing this makes sense a little bit more. This is dried now onto the gel plate, and I'm going to lift it off of here with some wet paint. Again, a thin layer all over. And I might normally pre-prepare a page, like I said, with a stencil of the figure or some circles or some splats or something beforehand, but I just want to keep this really, really simple, just to demonstrate the process. It's a nice thin layer of the wet paint that you want to transfer straight on there. So the cool thing about it is because it's see-through, you can also line it up where you want it. But for the case of this, we're just going to put it down there. You need to press it down quite firmly, or use a roller to press it really down firm. Make sure there's no air bubbles in there. I usually leave that again for a little while, just to dry a little bit so that it lifts off a little bit easier. So I'll see you back again in a moment. Okay, so once that's sat there for a little while, you can peel off the gel plate, and it reveals a transfer of the image below. Cool thing about this is obviously this is all in paint now, and I can draw over the top of it. And come up with composition ideas. So say I want to put this on a square, I could extend it out, have her sit around about there. I can put other colours against it, so put some blue in here maybe. And I can work like that over the top. I can put some highlights in, I can draw over the top, make alterations as I see fit. And then once I have a composition that I'm happy with, I then move on to canvas. I hope this sort of explained how I generate these ideas. Obviously I can work over the top of this, create all sorts of different things, stencils, some collage and such, until I get the sort of layouts that I'd like. And I would just keep repeating this, just playing around with compositions, different figures. I hope that was interesting, and I will, in the next video, show you a few of the original paintings that I generated from some of these sketches, and show you how I translated some of the mistakes and some of the inconsistencies that the gel plate creates onto the canvas, because I really like the contrast between really detailed areas of drawing and more haphazard abstract paint. So yeah, in the next video I will show you the paintings that was generated from a few of these sketches. Okay, so until next time, I will see you then. Take care. Bye bye.